everyone, Kelly Bear here. Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be having a little bit of a play with some of my oracle decks, in combination, in tandem with tarot. I often speak about how I don't really have that many oracle decks in comparison to how many tarot decks I have. Like it's a really big difference. I have slowly but surely been sort of building up my oracle deck collection, but because oracles, I mean, tarot itself is an oracle. It's just we sort of refer to tarot separately because it's a very sort of distinct system. Generally, most tarot sticks to a certain structure. Obviously, there are those that deviate from that, but generally speaking, same for Lenormand, we refer to it as a separate system, but it is also a form of oracle. It is a form of cartomancy. But here with oracle decks, just generally what we think of when we're talking about oracle decks is there's such a vast array. There are so many different types, they're different sizes. Some have systems, some don't have systems, some are really structured, some have no structure at all. And so learning to work with oracle, for me, especially as someone who never really sort of did oracle that much, other than having the Brian Froud's Fairies Oracle, which I've had since the year it came out. I've had it for almost 25 years, I think. I don't really do oracle. For the most part, I just found a lot of the sort of mass market oracle decks, at least, didn't really appeal to me. But I have noticed over the last few years more and more oracle decks being released that I like the look of. I like the cut of their jib. But because I have so few in comparison to my tarot collection, they kind of need to work harder, I'm like, what am I need to find more ways to work with them. And for me to buy an oracle deck, it has to work with at least, oh god, I'm knocking the camera, I'm so sorry, it has to work with at least a handful of tarot decks I already own. Like if it only works with 1 or 2 tarot decks, that's not good enough for me, because that oracle deck is not going to be getting enough play. And one of the ways, actually, I should get something for you to look at, because this is a little boring. Hold on. Okay, that should be a little bit better, rather than just watching me waving my hands about in front of this sort of very blank background. While I talk, gives you something to look at. And of course, now that I've paused the video and come back, can I remember what I was saying? What was I saying? Oh, that was it. One of the ways that I'd seen people pairing decks is having like one one oracle card in the middle and then a tarot card other side. I know that Dawn Michelle does that often. I don't know if that was originally her idea, actually, when it comes to working with oracle, which I worked with a lot last year and the year before, sort of combining oracle with tarot. And then someone mentioned in a video, and I don't know if it was last year that I saw it, like towards the end of last year or maybe at the beginning of this year, and it was a couple of people actually, when I remembered. Cozy Core Crafts, I think, is the channel, and then also Tegan over at Cosmic Creepers Tube mentioned working with oracle decks as spread machines, and using them to create positional meanings for spreads for your tarot readings, right? Which I thought was really fun. And one of the decks that I found worked really nicely for this was Thistledown. This is Thistledown by Three Trees Tarot. And another one that I found worked really nicely was the Earthbound Oracle. And I think the reason that these works really nicely is they're just like single word titles, and so you can just sort of use that as a jumping off point, which is quite fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of spread machining, I guess, like demonstrations, and just showing you a couple of different ways that you can use work with. I should try to use the term work with rather than use more consciously. Ways that you can work with oracle as a spread machine, as a spread creator, for your tarot readings. So let's get onto it. Okay, so first up, we're going to be looking at Thistledown. Now, this deck works nicely for what I have been calling unconscious draws or unconscious spread creation, where you are taking an oracle deck and giving it a shuffle, just as you would if you were going to be doing a reading with it. And, you know, you obviously want to get a little bit of a mix going on there. And then, you know, not looking at the cards, just sort of seeing what comes out on top. And, you know, I think before you start, before you draw any cards, before you even start shuffling, I would say maybe sort of decide ahead of time how many cards you're going to draw. So typically I do 3, not always, but 3, 2 or 3 works nicely. And just seeing what comes up, and you're not beholden to whatever comes up. It's just a bit of fun just to see, and, you know, like, just let's have a look. So let's do 3. So we've got acknowledgement. Okay, acknowledgement, intrigue, and making space. Okay, so you can use these as prompts for your tarot spread. So acknowledgement, something that maybe, I mean, we've got this dragon here, and there's like a moonbeam as almost like a spotlight on this dragon, gaining maybe recognition outwardly, or maybe it could be acknowledgement, an inward acknowledgement of something. Intrigue, something, we've got this otter finding this little shiny coin down here. Something that you find intriguing, so something to acknowledge, something to that might bring you some intriguing excitement, and something, making space, something to make space for, right? That works as a tarot reading. And I think what will be nice deck to pair this with would be Thistledown, which I have a prototype of just here. It's not very well shuffled, actually. I should probably, it's needs a bit more of a, I can't riffle shuffle this one though, because it is very, it is a chonker. I really struggle to, I mean, I can just about riffle shuffle it, but it's a real workout for my poor hands, and it's not fun for me a lot of the time because I get a lot of joint pain in my hands. So look at these backs. Isn't this just adorable, this little sleeping mouse? I love that there's like the branches and the leaves, but then you've got like buttons and a little key, and oh, it's just so sweet. So yeah, so then what you would do, you've got your 3 positional meanings for your 3 card spread, and you're just gonna draw 3 cards. So something to acknowledge, the 6 of Cups. Okay, something, I think I need to, I'm just going to move the camera out a skosh just so you can see a bit better. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, and then we're going to draw something for intrigue. Ace of Cups. Ace is nice for something new and intriguing, right? Ace starting right at the beginning of the suit. I'm going to sneeze. Oh my goodness. Woof, hay fever season. And something to make space for. The 2 of Cups. So we've, see, this is where I said, I was like going to go, oh wow, 3 cups. But like I said, these are still not very well shuffled from filming my my walkthrough and things of it. So so yeah, I mean, if this was a very well shuffled, often used deck and I got all cups, I would take that as an important part of the reading, right? Because we've got a lot of water energy going on, and none of the other suits are represented at all in this reading. It's sort of purely, it tells me that it's a very sort of emotional, or maybe even like a spiritual reading, because obviously the cups can relate to sort of spiritual matters as well. So something to acknowledge, something that an element of intrigue, something that's intriguing, or something to sort of pay attention to, what's catching your eye, and something to make space for. I love this as and isn't that funny, right? Because we've got the darker toned sort of blues and darker toned colors here, and then we've got these more warm tones in cooler tones, and then warmer tones in this one. But making space, and then it being the Two of Cups, like making space, making time for building sort of relationships and emotional bonds. I just think that's really nice. Anyway, I'm not going to be like fully reading all of the tarot cards that come up, because this video is going to get very long, and I have a tendency to waffle on quite a lot anyway. We're already at 10 minutes and I've only shown one. So let's do another oracle deck. I mean, yeah, so this oracle deck I really enjoy as a spread machine, as it were. Actually, let's pull another 3 and see how that might change the meaning, right? Of obviously, because context is king when it comes to tarot. 3 more cards. So we have ferocity, shelter, and safety. So here, that's quite... This is my favorite card in this entire deck. This wolf cub just howling its little heart out is just too cute. But yeah, like, it will change the way that you're interpreting the cards, obviously. So I just feel like they're really nice jumping off points. They're really simple, nurturing, supportive prompts, and it doesn't shy away from sort of some of the slightly darker, you know, we've got rest, bravery. Oh, these are some of the other little extra cards that come. Balance. This is a great prompt. But we also have less sort of positive. So if you can hear a really weird squeaking noise, it's Normie, she's snoring. Yeah, you know, guardedness, and we've got this tiny dragon sort of taking refuge underneath half of a like a conker shell. Serenity. So yeah, there's loads of obviously they're not coming up now that I mention it. Here we go, darkness, which isn't inherently a negative card or a negative thing at all, but you can sort of take it, I guess, depending on sort of what other cards would come up. Again, context is everything. So yeah, anyway, I feel like I don't want to sort of belabor the point on because I've got other decks to show, and yeah, it could get really long. So I'm going to come back with another combination to show you. Okay, so there we go. Another deck that can work nicely, I think, as a spread machine. I've not really used this as a spread machine, so this is an experiment as much as anything. The Thistledown I have used as a spread machine, but it's the Empty Cup Oracle by Stacey Barrington, and I thought it'd be fun to pair it with the Sasaribito Tarot, because it's by the same creator, so they go together really nicely and they speak really nicely together. But also I'm trying to also show some of the deck combinations that I shared in my playing with pairs and sort of decks for spring videos, because this is for me as much as it is sort of for you. I'm sort of playing here and just sort of, you know, working things out. You know, I've done some of these things, I've tried some of these things I haven't tried, some of these decks I've used for spread machines, some of them I haven't. So it's like I'm just showing you the process as well as sharing some cool stuff. So yeah, let's have a look. We've got pruning shears, something to cut away, right? So you don't literally have to say your prompt is pruning shears. You can come up with a sentence, right? That I'm so sorry, I keep knocking the bloody camera. So something that to cut away, you can come up with a little sentence using this as a jumping off point. Whistle, something that you need to bring attention to, something to cut away, something you need to be paying attention to, bring attention to, or, you know, something that is raising the alarm about, you know. And then as a third one, snake. Oh, this feels like a very sort of twisty, gnarly kind of, shadowy reading here, right? So something that you need to cut away, something that's not working. There's sort of the dead things that need cutting away. Something that needs, you really need to pay attention to. There's something to be alerted to. And then snake, something slippy, something that's not what it seems, something that's a little wriggly, a little, you know, there's so many different ways that you could even take the Lenormand idea of what the snake means, you know, or if you find elements in an oracle card that you would also see in a tarot card, you could maybe pull the symbolism meaning from that. You know, there's so many ways that you can work with this, which I think is really, really fun. And then so we've got the Sasarai Beto. I should have probably pulled the Tiny Traveller version because the cardstock isn't shiny on that version. This one is the glossy second or third printing. But I do love this deck so much. I'm still impressed by how well I don't understand how the foiling has on the corners has lasted this well, considering how much I use this deck. Like, even I know I mention this quite regularly, but like, it does kind of blow my mind. Like, how? And it's witchcraft, ironically, unironically, I guess, maybe. Oh, my camera is, there we go, it had unfocused, as What's His Chop would say in Hellboy 2. Okay, so we've got something to cut away, the Eight of Pentacles. Something to raise an alarm about, the Emperor. Jeez Louise. Snake. Ooh, this is interesting. So we've got something to cut away, and we have the Eight of Pentacles, and like I'm sorry, I'm just stopping to sort of take my sweater off, because now I'm sweating my tits off. Because I get all animated and I sort of get a bit breathless because my old ticker, and I also just get a bit too hot. Have a quick sip of the old water. Yeah, so, you know, the Eight of Pentacles is often talked about as being like the card of like hard work, of the crafting, not the craft like the film or witchcraft. I mean, like crafting, practicing patience with your craft, the diligence, putting in the work, the practice. So maybe someone is putting in too much work with this person that might be sort of represented by the Emperor, because actually they say that they're working towards something with regards to justice, but they're actually quite a slippery customer. I don't know, like, again, context of a question is always like super important for me. We obviously have the context of the spread meanings, but a lot of the time when we use spreads, we also like have a question mark, do we? Yeah, you'll have a question and then you'll use a spread, because you're using the spread to dig into a particular issue. Okay, so that was another one. So this is unconscious, with bunny rabbit ears, unconscious spread machine, I guess. So the other way to do that would be to do it consciously, right? So, consciously, what do I mean by that? Well, it's a bit like doing sort of a conscious tarot reading, I guess, or picking your card of the day. If you do like a daily tarot draw, picking that consciously, which, you know, is also an option. There's so many different ways to work with the tarot or any other sort of cartomantic systems. That's part of why we love them, I think, because they're so flexible and adaptable. So yeah, this is the Earthbound Oracle by Skull Garden, and you know, this is one that I've used as a spread machine sort of unconsciously as well. I found this one does not work as a message of encouragement or support pull for the week. It can really like have some gnarly cards. I also take out the luck card in this one because the rabbit's foot, just, I'm like, lucky for who? Not the rabbit. So but yeah, consciously you are going through the deck, and you are consciously picking out, you're using these as prompts, right, to make it a spread. And I've been using 3, but you don't have to do 3, you could use more. So say, oh well, I want to do an elemental reading, and of course you can do an elemental reading where you just say this represents earth, air, fire, water, spirit, whatever. But like, sometimes it's just fun to like get the cards out, right, and have something that represents them visually, especially if you're someone who likes to take pictures of your spreads and put them on social media. So, you know, so this, we've got another one. Let's see. I should have pulled some of these out before, but I thought it'd be fun to like do some conscious pulls. Oh, that's the wrong way around. So I always think earth, air, fire and water. Is that because of the band? Is the band called Earth, Air, Fire and Water, and I'm just used to saying it that way? I think that might be. So earth, air, fire and water. So then you can literally just pull, you know, cards that represent, you know, your energies or your current state in each of these 4 elements, right? But you could also like mix it up. You could maybe pull doubles, right, consciously, or you could do, okay, you know, you can use a spread machine to use oracles with tarot, but you can use oracles with oracles. So I could, sorry, the glare on there is just, I'm going to probably have to move my light about a bit depending on the deck that I'm showing, because they obviously have different card stock and it sort of shows up differently depending due to that. So I could pull a different oracle deck and do a reading for each of these positions. I could pull a tarot, as I was originally sort of demonstrating with the others, to represent, or I could then take the rest of this deck and throw it onto the table and then pull unconsciously. So it's like a combo. It's a conscious / unconscious spread machine. So earth and abundance, I mean, well, earth and abundance with the pomegranate, that's just perfection. Reflect and air, that's interesting, right? Because the air element is the realm of the mind and thoughts, and reflection is something that you do with your mind. I love it. Fire, vision, again. Wow, I swear I did not do this on purpose. Please let water make sense with this next one. Fire is often seen as like the element of creativity and passion, and yes, vision, like so on the nose. Okay, what's the last one going to be? Release. Oh my god, the perfection. So release emotions. What are we letting go? What do we need, you know? And then so you're sort of building on your spread even, right? So we've got the element of earth and abundance, and then you can pull it, all right? This is so much fun. Oh my god, I'm just like riffing here. These are just ideas I've been having. I was awake in the early hours of the morning and I was just having these ideas, and I'm like, some of them I've tried and some of them I haven't. And then as I was just thinking about it and playing with it, I was like, oh my god, more and more ideas were coming to me. So this is just coming off the back, this whole conscious / unconscious. And then you can pull a tarot card for each, right? So here I've got the Antique Anatomy by Claire Goodchild. This is the mass market version. I love this deck. And this deck with this deck is a combination I've used together before, but not in a spread machine sense. I have to riffle shuffle this one because the cardstock's so deliciously flexible that it just tickles me. Now I've said that, watch me fuck this up. Oh no, fine. Okay, so, and then we're going to pull a card. So let's just go, we've got earth, air, fire, water, something to do with abundance, and your element of earth maybe to do with, let's just see it in the realm of like body, mind, sort of heart and spirit, or your emotional realm. So we have the king of rods, the king of wands. That's interesting. We've got we have the queen of wands for reflection and air. I mean, come on, folks. We have, the moon, the realm of, you know, the moon gets like a little bit of a bad rep sometimes, but again, it can represent sort of intuition, vision, nighttime, ideas, that kind of thing. You know, the card meanings in tarot are so capacious, and yeah. So hang on, let's just try a water card again. The suit of blades. We have the swords again. Our swords. 6 of swords in the release, and that's interesting, right? Because when you think of the Smith Waite, you're thinking of moving on, right? You've got that boat going across, rowing across the water, going from choppy seas, choppy water to calmer waters, to a new horizon, to a new shore. Again, you know, with Pips or Marseille, it can have a different, it just depends, like however you read them, right? I tend to read them a little bit differently. You know, 6 can sometimes be seen as like double the harmony because it's 3 and 3, or double the growth. So, you know, because it's two 3s, but then it's swords. So, you know, yeah, it's just, is however you want to interpret tarot. But isn't this fun? This conscious way of doing it. I want to do another one. I'm sorry if I hope this isn't boring. Let me just put these ones aside. So let me just sorry, made it go all blurry again. Apologies. So let's do, and I don't know why I'm shuffling them because I'm doing it consciously. What a banana. Right, so well, I guess if you're doing it consciously, you could like pull out a few that are like speaking to you. That's another way to do it, right? Rather than just flicking through, you just sort of go, well, I like transformation. That sounds like going by your needs. Like, I think, like, you know, if you've got like, you feel like you want to do a reading or you like need to do a reading, but you're like, you can't quite formulate the question. I feel like these, you know, going through an oracle card, a deck rather, and picking out cards that are sort of speaking to you, and then using those as a jumping off point to create a spread and or formulate a question could be quite fun. So, you know, what things that might pull out, you know, you might find intuition, healing. Why do they keep getting turned around? Again, I love, this is one of my favorite cards in this deck, both being wolves. Colour me stunned. Deceit, again, see deceit being the snake in here, the two-faced snake, no less. I do love Skull Garden. Death, toxic. See how they've got some really, there's one which is like a butterfly or a moth burning, and I pulled that as a message. Oh, there we go, failure. I got this once I think it was last year or the year before, as a message of encouragement and support, and I was like, no, I'm not using this fucking deck as for that prompt, because it makes no sense. There's too many. You have to have the right deck for the right question you're asking, I think, sometimes. So let's imagine there's some level of healing that needs to be doing, and there's some sort of, you know, in order to heal, there's something that you need to intuit, which will lead to a certain kind of transformation. I don't know. Again, I'm like just riffing here. We're just riffing. We're just having fun. Are you having fun? I'm having fun. So again, let's just go with the old antique anatomy. My old friend. So, just because I find it so satisfying. Oh, didn't bridge as nicely that time. Oh well, you win some, you lose some. So, healing. We have the Knight of Swords. For intuition, we have the 10 of Coins. And then we have the 9 of Wands for transformation. 9 of Wands for transformation is interesting because when you think about nines being that sort of that last push or that culmination, it's not necessarily completion like a 10 is. It's more of a culmination. It's that last push. It's culminating. It's just almost there. And when you think about the way that a moth, for example, here we have a lunar moth, the way that them pushing, I think it's moths, it's also birds from what I remember, but moths and butterflies, the act of pushing out of the pupa once they've transformed is what gives them the strength in their wings to be able to fly away once they've come out of their shell, as they were. Not a shell, come out of their pupa, you know what I mean. It's a turn of phrase. And with this being the wands as well, which is the fire, it's passion, it's transformation. Fire is transformative. We say that all the time. Fire is transformative. It can burn through something and turn something into ash. It can burn through something which then provides fuel or heat. You know, we're turning transforming one form of energy into another, and so this being transformation is great. We have intuition here, we have the 10 of Coins. It's basically coming to this final revelation with regard, and like a groundedness. So you're taking this intuition and grounding it in its fullness in this suit of earth, sort of really embodying, getting in touch with your body. Like this, your intuition will be at its peak when you've reached that sort of, you know, like, because people talk about intuition, and I see intuition as something that comes, you know, you've got, I see gut instinct and intuition are slightly different, but they both, for me personally, I find they come from they feel very, I feel them in my body. So for me, gut instinct, I mean, it's called gut instinct for a while, right? For a reason, sorry, because you're feeling it in your gut, in your stomach, like, I feel it in my guts or in my bones, you know. And then intuition for me feels more like it's coming from the heart almost. It's sort of opening up and it's coming from the heart, and maybe a little bit sort of there's a little bit of a channel through up to sort of the outer sphere or the spiritual realm, but it's the heart, the body is the conduit for that intuition. So if you're getting your body right, then you are your intuition is going to be more effective. And with healing, this is interesting. We've got this little bird, and it's had arrows. It's got a broken wing. It's got a little bloody beak. It's obviously not had a very good time of late, and hopefully they can heal. And here we've got a skull with a knife right through, a blade right through the top of the cranium. Called bit of a headache. I think there a bit of something's causing a bit of a headache. It's telling me, first of all, if we're looking at it, if we were reading it with regards to just the image, there's something is causing you a headache essentially. And with the knight being you know, active, and again the knights are quite passionate, they're going on they're questing, they are actively seeking, right? Healing, it's almost like saying healing is a journey, it's a process, it's a quest, it's not always linear, right? And the fact that it's swords, not swords, sorry, swords. I keep throwing myself off with blades and swords, because when I read with this deck, I don't translate in my head to swords, I just read it as blades. Being the element of air, maybe there's some kind of mental block going on, maybe there's some therapy that needs to happen in order to be able to get out of your head and into your body, to really sort of tune into that intuition, and then that transformation and that passion can really take off. Anyway, I said I wasn't going to read all of these, and clearly I did just now. So I'm gonna do another conscious one, and then we'll leave it at that, because this is starting, we're already at 32 minutes and I don't want it to get too long. So I'll be back in just a mere moment. Okay, so I've already picked out a few just to save us a little bit of time, because this video is getting quite long. This is the Äkta Spåman Oracle. I don't believe that this is available anymore, but the Outgrow Yourself Tarot and Oracle is available. I would rather like that, actually, because I followed the artist for quite a few years. I really love her work. So I just picked out a few prompts that were sort of make sense in sort of context of a reading, maybe. So are you too comfortable to grow? What is something that's sort of constraining you, or something that you're, an area or a thing that you're holding yourself back on? Build, destroy, rebuild. So with regards to that, like, what is it that you need to break down in order to start anew? But by the same token, there's maybe something that you are like fighting against, that you want to change, but you need to accept that maybe some things are out of your control, and then maybe the tarot card would relate to that. And then we have live, learn, adjust, repeat, and that's sort of learning to sort of adapt to all of this, grow, and sort of adjust your life accordingly. And then it's always a cycle, right? We're going back. Where are we getting? Eventually we sort of adapt to our new situation and we become too comfortable again, right? And we sort of we start again. So I will grab a tarot deck to have a little play with. I've actually got the Zeke's Arcana. Again, this is one of my pairs that I picked, that I played with in my Playing with Pairs video. Pairs of what? You may ask. Or just pears, apple and pears. Sorry. Clearly a little too hyper today. So I love this deck. So, and the colours, just obviously the pink and the pink. It just has to. So, okay, are you too comfortable to grow? Comfortable. pushing yourself out of your box. The Chariot. Ooh, interesting. Build, destroy, rebuild. Knight of Cups. We're getting the Knights coming up again. Knight of Cups. Accept what you cannot change. Oh, that's interesting for the Nine of Swords, right? They're sort of sometimes sort of nicknamed the Nightmare card. Live, learn, adjust, repeat. The Ace of Cups. That's quite nice that you get a repeat, a beginning, and you're going back with the Ace. And that adjustment, right? The Ace, the water being, you know, it's overflowing. Water will adapt to any vessel that it is put in, right? It flows. It's fluid. It's flexible. It's, you know, it's water. I really like that. Are you too comfortable to grow? The Chariot. Obviously the Chariot is associated with choices, is associated with having sort of inner control or maybe being out of control, and you know, also depending sometimes on the depiction of the Chariot in the cards, the deck that you're using. Sometimes I think the Chariot can be like you're holding on too tight to the reins, right? But the horses aren't necessarily going anywhere, or the horses, you know, with the Smith Waite, for example, going in sometimes in the Marseille going in different directions, but with the Smith Waite, rather, the sphinxes don't look like, they look stationary. These like they're stuck, and you've got all that nods to sort of the geometry and things with this cube, the cube of the Chariot and stuff like that. So maybe you've become comfortable, you've got too comfortable with like actually having too tight a grip on things, and actually that's not necessarily very good. So we've got this tight grip all the way down to this fluidity and this movement. Build, destroy, rebuild. We've got the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups, again, we've got this sort of, we're back in with the water, the emotions, the adaptability. This hippo mount is just, oh my goodness, loving it, all about it. And there's this abandonment that you see here in this particular depiction, with this knight sort of throwing up their cup and the water is pouring out, and it's sort of, again, water pouring out here, and it's really not taking, you know, it's reminiscent of this final card here. So this quest to rebuild, to destroy, it's an emotional journey as well. It's an emotional roller coaster. And accept what you cannot change. You know, sometimes the things that you are anxious about, you can't change, right? Because sometimes I feel like with certain kinds of therapy, not all therapy obviously, but certain kinds of therapy, they'll be like, well, I know that you're anxious about this, but maybe that you could reframe it so that it's like this, and a lot of it is put into sort of the person that's anxious is being anxious for no reason, and that can happen with like catastrophizing and stuff. Oh, I've got to. Oh, annoying. It was a bloody, I thought it was going to be an important phone call, and it wasn't. It was just some fucking cold caller trying to pretend to be my bloody service provider, my mobile service provider. That's annoying. Anyway, and it sort of cut my train of thought. How annoying. And now I have to stitch these two videos together because it stopped recording. So yeah, but with certain things, you know, you're anxious about something and you can't do shit about it, right? And I see this a lot with like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, who are like, you know, our anxiety, well, even me as a stressed, anxious elder, geriatric, even millennial, the things that I'm concerned about, I can't necessarily do shit about, and they are legitimate anxieties. They are legitimate things to be concerned about. So like the climate crisis, for example, is just one example of something. There might be a situation that is involved, I don't know, illness or something, and that constrains you, that bounds you. That, God, this feels very personal. Someone who lives with a number of chronic illnesses that I do feel bound by, but I cannot change them. There is only a certain amount that I can do with regards to my general well-being, but those are chronic conditions that don't go away, right? And if they do, it's very rare, and the journey is long. So like accepting what you cannot change and sort of adjusting within that, being flexible. So yeah, so that's sort of with conscious. And what I'll do is because I've just worked with these, let's put them out of they're out of play. And just to have another look at some of the other cards that from this Oracle deck that could be, failure isn't always an option. I mean, this is very reminiscent of the Hanged Man. Jump, something to take up. This makes me think of the Fool. I mean, you could even, let's see. Oh no. Let's see. What have we got? Don't kiss knives. I mean, the devil is in the detail. Again, relate to this. Some of these do feel like very tarot-y. Kill your ego. That's a good one. So I guess you could kill your ego, jump, right? And failure is always an option would be quite fun, because, you know, sometimes we think too much about what others think, and a lot of the time other people don't really think much about you because they're too busy thinking about themselves and thinking about what other people are thinking about them, right? So kill your ego, or just let your ego get in the way, and be sort of trying to be authentic in whatever it is that you're doing, jumping, taking that leap. And then, you know what, if you fuck up, failure is always an option. At least you damn well tried, right? Stop waiting, it will never happen otherwise, right? So I think let's pull another three cards, and I will just leave it at that for you to, if you want, in the comments you can give your own little interpretation, because this is now getting quite a long video and I don't want to. Kill your ego, the Lovers. Jump, the King of Swords. Ooh, interesting. And failure is always an option. Oh my dog. Hello, the Eight of Cups, walking away from something that isn't serving you, because failure is always an option. But is walking away from something that isn't serving you. I don't see that as failure. I see that as like going, do you know what? Okay, I tried that, or that's no longer working for me. Now we move on and we go on to pastures new. Yeah, it just, anyway, so you can, I'll leave you to sort of interpret that yourself if you like. But yeah, let me know what you think. Do you utilize Oracle and Tarot in this way, or Oracle with Oracle spread machines? What do you think? Is it something that you've never thought of before and you would like to give a go now that you've seen this? And let me know, did you find this interesting or fun, or was this not really your bag? Let me know, because I'm just trying stuff out, you know, and I'm enjoying getting the hang of these top-down sort of desk view videos. They're quicker and easier for me to film, honestly, for the most part. So I think I will carry on doing some more. I did have another bunch of deck combos and Oracle reading ideas, but I realized very quickly when I started writing out my notes ideas for these, that it was going to get like, it would end up being like at least an hour and a half video. So I think what I would do is like looking at how to utilize and deep diving into an Oracle, how to deep dive, because we always talk about deep dives with tarot, or we talk about deep dives of very particular types of Oracle decks, but how do we do deep dives utilizing the Oracle and the tarot together? So that will be, I will see if I have the energy to film that after this one, after I've had a cuppa. I'll see how I feel. But yeah, if you have enjoyed this video, let me know. Thank you so much for taking time out from your valuable day to watch and or listen to me. I really appreciate it, and I hope wherever you are watching this that you are safe and well, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.